think I'm so eager to hear these people, I'm forgetting the small formality of welcoming the guest, the speaker with the momentum and the flowers. May I request Shri Kamalji Mundara, Chairman of the session, to present the bouquet and memento to Shri Kevin Shah. So yes, Mr. Shah, this is all yours.
Thank you, Kavita, for the very gracious introduction. In fact, one of the first things of entrepreneurs is it takes one to know one. And if she has given me the praise, I think I need to reciprocate the niceties, not because it is a custom, but it is because I believe. And I'm not praising her or a couple of women in the audience. I'm warning you guys that entrepreneurs of the future are not going to be on the sidelines, they will be taking the main stage. Women are going to be ruling very soon, so watch out, guys. And I thank you for the memento. You should make an entrepreneur work hard. You're given the tip to the waiter before he has served. But nevertheless, thank you. There are 8 kings in the world who have been conferred by historians the title of the Great. 2 are from India, one is Ashoka, and the second is Akbar. Now Akbar the Great was ruling at the time of, at the helm of the Mughal Empire, and he was so powerful that he could have given a garland on anyone or even put a hangman's noose. But he realized that even though he is on the helm of the situation, he was infinitesimally small compared to the gods and the gurus out there. And therefore, an inquisitiveness was there in him. He surrounded himself with what we call as the Navratnas. And to find out what's the pulse of the nation, he used to disguise himself and go out into his kingdom and find out what the people are saying. It might shock and surprise some of you. Akbar was an illiterate. He had never been to school. Conan O'Brien is an American comedian. He was called to Rutgers College, one of the very prestigious American colleges. And he was called to speak over there. This is what he said at the graduation ceremony of students. He said, what is happening to the American education? To take a decision. What do most of us do? Every day we take countless of decisions. And what are those countless decisions? We decide not to decide. बाद में यार, अभी बहुत complicated question लेके आया यार, तुम छोड़ना. We decide not to decide. What he did was, he kept on taking decisions and the people don't take decisions. And what he said is when you decide, you build character. When you decide, you build character. When you decide, you build character. And slowly, slowly you have a tough character and you can take a tough decision. Now, mind was one, money was to follow, and he started plugging the loopholes in the property tax. Everybody knows that octroi check naga kahan par hai. So that becomes the corner for corruption. So he kept out these flying squads. Anyone who goes from there, they will be caught a few kilometers away on motorbikes. And they used to correlate the data. So octroi mein corruption band ho gaya. Computerization was done. He broke the cartel of the contractors cartel. What he noticed, कि last कितने सालों से थोड़ी पहले फाइल पड़ी थी ना उन्हें, तो उसको पता था थोड़ा बहुत तो, कि there are only 18 suppliers for anything and everything, pin to piano. 18 supplier ही थे पूरे सूरत पे. ऐसे कैसे हो सकता है? There was a cartel going on. So what he did, he also realized that कोई भी चीज के लिए अगर उनको अगर चाहिए, तो they had to give advertisement in the paper 4 times. 4 newspapers में advertise देनी पड़ती है. He said it's all waste of money और कोई फायदा होने वही के 18 लोग ही आ रहे. So what he did was, he found out the average price and he said this is the price. Can anyone supply at this cost or lower? And he broke the city into parts. Geography को history कर दिया था. And all of a sudden there were a lot of people who were willing. but उतना ये technical specification ये price के अंदर supply कर सकते हो, you are accepted. And overnight there were 100 suppliers he created. The cartel of 18 people was completely broken. Give him a big hand. Rao, S.R. Rao. And of course he started treating them, employed some chartered accountants. Someone said there are a lot of chartered accountants. He started having commercial norms also. Everything should be treated as a profit center, not like a taxpayer's money going down the drain. That's what it did. अब property tax में भी काफी loopholes थे. The way Surat used to operate, that in 1 month they used to do all assessment. They used to sleep for 11 months, और एक महीने में वो लोग सारे लोग assessment के लिए बैठते थे. एक महीने में कोई justice नहीं होता है. So they used to say कि हमको जरा temporary भी आदमी लोग चाहिए extra. So the municipality would call the temporary, and they used to guide the temporary to do some wrong things. The temporary would do that, अपने लोगों को favor करते थे, और वैसे करके corruption होता था. And कुछ भी हो गया, they would say वो तो temporary करके चला गया करके. So he said nothing doing. You have to do this, and you have to do it all around, all year round, and everywhere. Now again, the corporators started objecting. The corporators said, as per the bylaws, we can do assessment only once in 4 years. See, amount of frustration you can get. The capacity of a man is to bear stress, you know. That is what it is ultimately. Then nothing is easy. Everywhere, educated people were giving him problems. Educated people were questioning him. And the amount of stress that was there on him, continuously. So they said nothing doing. As per the bylaws, you cannot do assessment every year. You have to do once in 4 years. So again, what did he do? Rao, S.R. Rao was a smart man. उसने geography का history कर दिया वापस. He divided the city again into 4 zones for the sake of assessment. और एक जोन में बराबर करेंगे, परमानेंट स्टाफ ही करेगा, 1 साल करेंगे, जोन 2 को नेक्स्ट ईयर, जोन 3 को नेक्स्ट ईयर, जोन 4 को वापस वो, तो 4 साल में हो गया कि नहीं? That's how it happened. So give a big hand. Another idea. Rao ऐसा Rao. तो टाइम लैग चल रहा है मेरे और इसके बीच में. And by the way, he started social auditing. उन्होंने सिटी वाले को भी इनवाइट किया कि जब असेसमेंट हो रहा है किसी का प्रॉपर्टी का कितना टैक्स लगना चाहिए, तो आप जो प्रोमिनेंट सिटीजन है उसमें कोई भी सब आ सकते हैं, फलाना क्वालिफिकेशन, एंड यू कैन आल्सो ऑब्जर्व. सो एज अ ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन कुड आल्सो ऑब्जर्व, एंड देयरफॉर ही वन द हार्ट ऑफ द पीपल. And cash registers started ringing. 97% of the property tax arrears were collected. Unassessed properties were brought to book. Underassessed properties fell in line. Collection efficiencies went up from 30 to 80%. Octroi collections jumped for 20%. And the administrative charges which he was charging for throwing kachra by the educated droppers, he ended up collecting 10 lakhs. And in 1 year itself, okay, in just 1 year itself, in his first year, he collected 54% more than the previous year. Now tell me, Infosys का जब 30% stock in profit हुआ था, उसका stock कितना high गया था? In 1 year he did 54%. Give him a big hand. That 54% was excess of 100 crore rupees. Rajiv Gandhi had come to Mumbai city few years before this incident happened. He was alive at that time, and he had given a gift to a city like Mumbai, 100 crore rupees. And it was making the first, headlines of Times of India. 100 crore rupees has been given to Mumbai for beautification. He got nothing from Delhi, he created from within. This is called power. Power from within. Power is never divested from the top, it comes from within. This is one of the first traits of an entrepreneur or entrepreneur. अब उसके लोग भी सीख रहे थे. 1200 लोगों को निकाल दिया, जो अच्छे लोग थे वो अंदर रिटेन हो रहे थे, लाइक माइंडेडनेस जो रहने लगे. So he told them that, भैया, whatever you have learned, you should start learning to teach them. So go out and teach the people. After all, they say health is wealth, correct? But here, what is the wealth for? 100 crores. It is for health. This is a city of plague after all. So use that money to teach the people. So he sent the field workers to teach the people. They participated in school health programs. They started organizing puppet shows. Everywhere city of Surat was health. Participated in street discussion programs. Participated in Mahila Mandals, Anganwadi volunteers, media, NGOs. He built so much of awareness and soft power that, do you know what was the effect of this? For the first time ever in the history of India, that people, either out of fear or out of love for him, demolished their own properties. Those out of fear, चला यहाँ आ जाएगा अपने पास, उसके पहले demolish कर दो, बेइज्जती हुई, अपना ही property demolish कर दिया जो illegal थी. And there are some people who knew it is illegal, out of love for him, कि after all वो सही कर रहा है. They gave away the property. It never happened in India before. ताली दीजिए. He even approached the slum dwellers, गरीब में गरीब लोगों को, जिसका illegal happenings था, उन्होंने थोड़ा आगे का तुम्हारा जगह दे दो, तो मैं यहाँ पे एक टॉयलेट बना दूंगा, सुलभ लगा दूंगा, सुलभ शौचालय. And they also gave it up. This is the first time this has happened, that they gave up for the road widening, and he arranged for underground pipelines so that in the rain time there is no water over there. Rao was not there for a long time. He was like a T20 player. He was just there for 20 months. And within 20 months, what happened? He reinvented zero. The 22,000 malaria cases which we had heard, it all became zero. Not a single malaria case was found after that. Sanitation coverage went up to 97%, up from 60%. 98% street garbage collection took up from 40%. Vagera, vagera. We are having less of time. 82% of the slums were upgraded. 92 kilometers of main road widened. 300 kilometers of new roads were laid. Street lighting went up by 98%. Surat Medical Association was the only one who complained because people were not falling sick. Their wealth went down. It went down by 60%, it was reported. The doctor said that koi bimar nahi girta hai. Tax collection was up by 54%. And according to the survey, the filthiest city became the second cleanest city of India. Give him a big hand. Rao, S.R. Rao. His name is Rao, S.R. Rao. And just to let you know, क्या power होता है आदमी का, 10 years after he had left, Amarjit Singh, who was the new commissioner there was some flood again in Surat because of the Narmada dam was opened and the water had come, and he knew what the people wanted, and he again must be an entrepreneur because entrepreneurs don't hesitate to take help. He called him after 10 years and made a request if he can come back, and he came back, people welcomed him, and he again cleaned the streets of Surat after 10 years after he had almost gone. While he was in Surat, he had gone through a lot of stress. He had got death threats, his wife had received obscene calls, his son was kidnapped for 48 hours. When he was transferred to Visakhapatnam, he turned that around. It went to the point where, politicians call these people for wrong reasons. Chandrababu Naidu calls him, "Mera Hyderabad bhi jara please clean kar de." Chandrababu actually is known to have asked for it, known to be a minister who asked for him. Currently, Rao, S.R. Rao, is in Delhi. He's a Union Commerce Secretary. The Ecological Sequestrant Trust is an NGO, has given the selected city of Surat because it qualifies, and there are only 4 cities in the world which qualify, and Surat has been selected by them. It's a UK-based NGO. And believe it or not, today it is the fastest growing city in the world. It is the 6th fastest growing city in the world. So when the toughs get going, when the goings get tough, the toughs get going. Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Rao Surya Devara Ramachandra Rao. He himself was, I think, the diamond of Surat. Surat today polishes 92% of the world's diamonds. The biggest diamond they had was him. Let us give a big hand to Rao, S.R. Rao. This is entrepreneurship. And if you are working for someone, it is called entrepreneurship. It doesn't matter. I deliberately did not pick a business example. I wanted to demonstrate to you what an entrepreneur does basically. I have one more story for you. Please bear with me. I know you are all hungry. I know I stand between you and your lunch, but this is food for thoughts, if not for your stomach. Sorry? Yeah, sure. Actually, I'm a little distracted because of the computer and thing, unfortunately, but I'll try my level best, sir. All right. This is again Madurai city in Tamil Nadu, 1976. There was a guy by the name of Govindappa Venkataswamy, fondly called Dr. V. He was a professor in a medical college in Madurai, and at the age of 58 years, his fingers were crippled, and at the age of 58 years, he retired. Now, give him a big hand. He retired. Not a story to clap for. Some of them who clapped, I just woke up, I think. This is the story of just about any one of us. A man in Tamil Nadu at the age of 58, from a professor in a college, ophthalmology college, eye doctor, retires, and he could have very well retired to rolling down his lungi, settle for rice and rasam. But it seemed to me that this fellow, Dr. V, was a fan of SRK, and he said to the world, "Abhi to picture baki hai mere dost, abhi to picture baki hai." Let us see what picture he shows us. I picked Indian examples, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett ki sab baat kar lete hain. These are Indian, we are Indian people, we have a lot of jewels over here. Unfortunately, the focus of our media is a little distracted. So, we will see how a small, frail man from the temple town of Madurai, one of the quietest corners of India, becomes the lighthouse of the world. I will give you a little bit about background of Dr. V. When he was a professor, he used to visit rural eye camps. And he knew that there are 24 million, 2.4 crore blind people in the world. And 1/3 were unnecessarily blind. Either they could not afford, or they were not even aware that they are going to go blind. Very soon they will go blind. Or they never had the reach. There were not enough doctors. There was expensive surgery. And what he realized when he went over there, when he went with his students to do the operations, as a practical, that when you give an eye to someone who loses his eye at the old age, you restore his eyes, the lifespan of that person extends. Usually people die in 3 years' time after you lose the eyesight, poor among the poorest, because they are not a hand to work but a stomach to feed. And they are treated badly, the dignity is lost, and the person is demotivated and eventually goes into nothing. And by the way, he never wanted to be an eye doctor, he actually wanted to be a gynecologist. The reason is he had lost his 3 cousins at childbirth, and he thought, I will also be a gynecologist to save people at childbirth. But he was hit with rheumatoid arthritis, and he was bedridden for 2 years. And no one thought that he would ever get up. His fingers were crippled, and no one thought he would ever get up. And get up he did, and he rose. One thing I must tell you, that he was a successful eye surgeon. Now the question should immediately come to you, that's the little spark you saw in him. That how can he be an eye doctor, successful one, when his hands were crippled? But the spark that was there in him, he devised a special equipment, some special instruments that he could do a delicate operation even of the eye. Alright, so at the age of 58, Dr. V retired, but in 1961, he happened to be sent to USA by his college. And like all these young people, some of you who go to McDonald's, he also went there. He had seen how McDonald's operates. And what he had seen was, what McDonald's gives is speed, quality, and consistency in his burgers. And that was something amazing to him in that time, in 1961. Kaisa kaise ho sakta hai? Cut. Jahan pe bhi jata hai, all the McDonald's look the same. Everywhere he saw the processes, fadak karke burger aata hai. In fact, there's a drive-through also there, isn't it? इधर ऑर्डर किया, गाड़ी से बाहर निकलने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप दूसरी विंडो तक गए तब तक मिल जाता है. And what he saw at that time, photocopy machines were not in India, that when you go give for photocopy, the more you photocopy, the less that fellow used to charge. And an idea struck to him that time, it was brewing in him. He said to himself, can the McDonaldization of surgery and the photocopyization of cost for eye surgery be done? This was the thought that was brewing in him. So let's talk of his early years, and mind you, early year is that we are starting at the age of 58, that's the early years. So after he retired, let's see what the early years were about. He decides to set up a hospital after retiring at the age of 58. His motive was to eliminate blindness wherever. Doing service to mankind was doing service to God, that was the only thing that he had. He asked his sister, Dr. Natche, and her husband, Dr. Nam, to come back to India. They were settled in USA, they were working in Harvard, they have a wonderful home with a front lawn, garden and everything, a car, very well settled. He said, you please come back to India. They said, no, we are very happy here. He said, no, please come back, America does not need you, India needs you, you come back to India, you give your service to India. He was very persuasive, so they finally came back to India. Now he wanted to start an hospital, and everyone said what a noble thought it is. So there were a lot of well-wishers. But he said, now I want some money, and they wished him away. I said, नहीं, idea अच्छा है, लेकिन पैसा वैसा मत मांगो हमसे, हमारे से advice ले लो बस, पैसा मत लो. He went to a bank, and the bank manager told him, sir, you are so old. God forbid, if something happens to you, all the young people that are left behind you, they will end up paying the loans that you take. Please, I cannot give you any loan. And that was the last hay on the camel's back. And what he did is, he mortgaged all his family jewels. जो भी था उसके पास प्रॉपर्टी था, जो भी थोड़ा बचा बचा पूरा लाइफ टाइम का उसने दे दिया. And he starts up an 11 beds at his home. Now this is one of the traits of an entrepreneur. You see, their intent is the strongest firing strongest fire in them is the intent. They don't have some grand plan. They don't have an input for the right resources. Whatever I have right now, I want to do it, they start. Most entrepreneurs start that way. They have that fire in their belly. They rely more on their courage of conviction and will not worry about fear of failure. This is one of the strongest traits of most entrepreneurs. And he started his 11-bed hospital. Dr. Naam, Dr. Nakcher, who had come back to India, they also joined. Everybody working for 18 hours a day. And they were thinking, you know, we should have gone back to America. वहाँ कहाँ फंस गए हम लोग यार? वहाँ कितनी beautiful life थी. But they still ended up earning 2,000 to 3,000 rupees per patient per day. 2,000 to 3,000 total per day. And they took help from another relative to manage the hospital, manage a construction of a hospital. And then finally, they built a building to accommodate 30 beds. This, ladies and gentlemen, was the beginning of what we now know as the Arvind Eye Hospital. With just 30 beds, they started in 1977, named after Sri Aurobindo, after whom this Arvind Hospital has been named. That is the journey we will see now. Strategy? They had no strategy. You know, entrepreneurs don't have strategy. What they have is, they have a dream. And that's what they had, a dream. That we want to make a hospital to serve the community. After all, we've come back from America. After all, I have given so much to the world, to the students. Now I want, what's the use of my life? What is the meaning of my life? So they had a dream, and their only strategy was doing service to mankind, was doing service to God. They wanted to make a hospital not for profit. It should be community oriented. It should be cost effective, and it should be the best in the world. They wanted to eliminate blindness. So right on day one, they had a very value-added mindset. They eliminated themselves from the tyranny of or, this quotation or that. Should we go with this vendor or that? What they said is, we will go for the best what the money can buy. And content was more important than container. So will we have the best instrument in the operation theater? Yes. Will we have the M.F. Hussein's painting in the operation theater? कि जैसे वो आँख खुले उसकी देखे तो बहुत beautiful painting है? No. None of that. They went with best possible what the money could buy. Now money was very scarce. McDonald's यहाँ आ गया. They decided to standardize everything. So what did they standardize? The systems, the processes, the services, the rooms, the machines, the instruments. They made it all standardized. McDonaldization बहुत चल रहा था उसके. And then photocopyization of the cost. Near zero breakdown. एक का spare part दूसरे में चलता है, दूसरे का spare part तीसरे में चलता है. So they never had a breakdown time. Some very simple tricks they did. This is what I am talking about. Entrepreneurship. And zero adjustment time. You could actually blindfold a nurse or a doctor or a ward boy and take them from one room to another, and they all look the same. They could immediately get to use, and this helped them later. When you go from one hospital to another, they can get to work right away because there was no loss of time with respect to instruments or for adjustment of the people. अब उनकी assembly line has become world famous. The nurses used to come in at 6:30 to prepare the patients. The doctors came in at 7. Now the operation theater had got 4 tables. In that there would be 2 surgeons. Each surgeon would have 2 patients. Each patient would have served by 2 nurses. अब सब इतने सारे लोग एक रूम में आ जाए तो एकता कपूर देखे तो एक कहानी ऑपरेशन थिएटर की कर दे. कहानी ऑपरेशन थिएटर की सुनेंगे अभी आप, क्या किया उन्होंने. तो ये क्या किया उसने, एक रूम में 4 बेड, उसमें 2 डॉक्टर, एक डॉक्टर के पास 2 पेशेंट के लिए 2 नर्स, ये क्या हो रहा है. एंड देन यूज्ड टू हैव what is known as one nurse was to help the doctor and another was a running maid. It was a common area where the sterilization was there and it was exactly kept 25 meters from there. I'm just trying to show you the standardization that it did. From any room it would be 25 meters. So if you blindfold her also, it was a blind hospital, she can exactly go to the right place, pick up the right thing and come back. There was absolutely no loss of time. अब उनकी assembly line देखिए आप. The doctor would be operating on one patient. In the meantime, the second patient, the microscope उसके eye के ऊपर focused है. It is ready to go in the takeoff position. So the doctor would go, one patient, as soon as it gets over, it go to the second patient and start operating over here. In the meantime, this patient is removed. Brought in another one, microscope is focused on the eye, ready to go. यहाँ खत्म हो गया, यहाँ पे, यहाँ खत्म हो गया, यहाँ पे, ये ऐसे चल रहा है, ऐसे चल रहा है, 1 बजे तक. This was the constant moving between the tables. This dance was going on. You know, children go to school walking, but they run back home. And this habit remains in the old age also when you go in the real world. And Warren Buffett, who still works at the age of 80, he says, I danced my way all the way to work. It seems that over here, in this hospital, people not only danced all the way, but they remained dancing, and in between I think they did some work, they did some operation. This is the enjoyable way he did it. Please, Dr. V. And then, you have 2 patients in one operation theater, a very high chance of infection. Operation theater was completely scrubbed clean. And the Royal London College of Ophthalmology have come and done a study over there, and they say that the operation theater over there has less infection probability than some of the hospitals in United Kingdom. And this, after 1 o'clock, the doctor used to go and do R&D. So this is the most well-rounded doctors. They would meet the outpatients, they would do R&D, everything. So it's a very, very occupied doctor. And he's fully well-rounded personality. He's meeting the patients, he's doing the operations, he's doing the research, etc., etc. Now this is another strategy. See, there is nothing happening in the laboratory over here so far. Their strategy was no need to hire the world's best, but person you hire, make them the world's best. So what they did, they had their own proprietary recruitment process. Dr. Netcher is Dr. V's sister, herself became the HR head. And she said, all the people in the company I will hire. It's a non-profit company. I will hire from doctors to sweepers. And in the interview, they don't ask questions like, India ka Prime Minister kaun hai? Who is the first man on the moon? They don't ask all these things. They would, supposing they're hiring these, they were in Madurai, some village girls would come over there. So they would say that you please come with your family. And they would observe the body language. That's the art they had gathered. This is a very different way of recruiting. They would observe the body language of how the parents are treating the girl, how the girl is behaving in front of the parents. They would ask questions like, आपका field कितना बड़ा है, कितना acres का है, उसमें कितना पानी जाता है. They would see if the child is involved or not. The young girls who would come. And if they found that everything was sound, then they would be taken. After they are taken, they are given 1 month long orientation. And in that 1 month, they talk about the heritage. What for are they here? What is the meaning of life over here? Why are they working here and not somewhere else? They would talk of the heritage over there, the culture, the values, the roots which Mr. Patani talked about. They would build very, very deep roots because they wanted these people to rise as tall trees. If you have deep roots, then you can get great fruits. And that's what they were there for. 1 month training orientation. Not even got started on the work. Only on the heritage, culture, values, ethics. What for they are here. And they were partnered then with mentors. And the seniors lead from the front. And they teach them right before them. And they are very transparent. Now a lot of people have tried that. And as Dr. V says, okay, a lot of people come and they ask her, how do you recruit these people? And how come they are so good, all of them? How come they know what they are doing? And we tell them that, but nobody has been able to capture the mindware of these people. People take away the systems, the processes, the machine, the management style, but ultimately the mindware behind that, nobody has been able to capture. Now, one of the breakthrough innovations of these entrepreneurs is that these girls that they hire, there's a rule that all Indian nurses have to be graduates and have to have passed the nursing examination. Now, they are not going to get these nurses from anywhere in Madurai. So they got these village girls and they trained them themselves for 2 years. And believe it or not, after 2 years, they made such a system with so much of training, first 1 month heritage training, then other things, that Arvind Eye Hospital employs 3,000 people. And people come in the morning at 7 o'clock, go at 7 o'clock in the evening. There is absolutely no supervision. They come by themselves, they do their job, there is no yelling, no chaos, nothing. All calm over there. And they lead from the front. If something is dusty, Dr. Natcha would themselves wipe it off, and everyone does that. They come early to work, everyone comes early to work. If something is fallen down, they pick it up, all the staff picks it. It's just spotlessly clean. मैं सोच में हो गया कि अगर राव ऐसा राव यहाँ आएगा तो he might lose his job. There's nothing to clean here. Everything is spotlessly clean. And then after 2 years training, what do you think the girls can give? They do the patient preparation. They can even do patient counseling to a large extent. They become research helpers in the lab. They are involved in production of lenses, sutures, needles. They do the refraction testing. Okay, these are not educated girls. They do medical preparation, dyes for surgery. They have become semi-doctors themselves. And by the way, the nurses also do nursing, in case you forgot. This is the power of developing deep roots, sir. And this was a win-win situation. Learning, earning, dignity and respect for these village girls. They would be, while the so-called college degree nurses would be getting around 8,000 rupees, and just doing nursing, these girls would be getting around 2,000 rupees, the minimum wage, but they never looked at the money. Doing service to mankind was doing service to God, and it became a win-win situation. They earned a lot of respect in the community. They actually adopted a village, you can say, indirectly. So in the end, what do you see? It's a low-cost, world-class service available at Arvind. The doctors at Arvind do 8 to times more surgery than anywhere else in the world. They have the lowest post-operative complications, according to the Royal College of Ophthalmology, London, from 7 to 7, most disciplined staff, no supervision over there. That's the only hospital which has no supervision. Most well-rounded doctors than anywhere in the world. And believe it or not, what is remarkable is that only 30% of their patients pay, and that also 1/5 the cost. And what makes remarkable, astounding, is that they still operate at a 35% operating profit, and all the profits are plowed back for the service of the community. So when you start with 30 beds, and where can you go? With just McDonaldization of surgery, standardization, photocopyization of cost, and little bit of HR. It's a long story. I'm not going to take you through the journey because there is a lack of time, but they started in 77 and they keep on growing, and through all this, their methodology, their philosophy was maturing. They were growing physically, they were growing mentally, they were growing materially. They kept going and going and going, year after year, year after year. Kept on adding. I would just tell a little bit about the Oro lab. Dr. V wanted the intraocular lenses for his patients. And intraocular lenses were only made by one American company, where each lens was costing more than $100. And he knew that none of his patients can afford that. But he really wanted that because it reduces the post-operative complications, and even the eyesight is a little better. And he wanted that. So he told his team, I want it. But no, I want it. We have to figure out something. So they worked with NGOs like the Sight Savers, the Combat Blindness, the Seva Foundation. They got some ragtag technology from somewhere. They assembled the pieces, and then they got the breakthrough. And you know what happened? They not only made the intraocular lenses, they ended up making better and better, one of the best, and now they make 1.2 million lenses exported to 85 countries. They are largest intraocular lenses makers in the world. 1 in every 10 in the world is made over here. Now you imagine from where they got the technology. Once you decide, it happens. Not only that, at Oro Labs, they even make 26 different types of eye drops. They have also reduced the cost of the sutures by 1/5, and they have made one of the very low weight plastic glasses. That also they have made. So it just kept going, you know. All right, so this is where it is. Keep going and going and going. Eye Research Institute today, it kept on going, okay? Today they do 3 lakh surgeries per year, from just 30 beds to 3 lakh surgeries. This is what the power of one man. This 2.5 million outpatient per year is whom they see. It is the largest eye hospital in the world. They consult several hospitals across the world. They have consulting to African hospitals, Far East hospitals, 150. They give their technology to others also. And by the way, one more thing I forgot to tell you. These intraocular lenses which they wanted to make, which I told you the American company made for $100, they make it for only $8. And if it is another hospital who is not for profit, then they sell it to them for $4. And after doing all that also, they are working at 200% return on their capital. So imagine that. They attract students from Harvard, Johns Hopkins, Yale, etc. to study how they do that. Students from all over the world come over here. They have been recognized by the President Bill Clinton Global Initiative. They have received the Helen Keller International Award. They have received the International Agency for Prevention of Blindness Award. They have received the International Blindness Prevention Award by the American Academy on Ophthalmology. And he has also received the Padma Shri from the Government of India. Give a big hand. Now Dr. V is a very different kind of person. He knows that there are diabetic people, there are 42 million diabetic people, out of which 20%, that's still 8 million people who will get blind eventually, but they don't know that yet. And he's worried about them, because even out of the 8 million people, only 7%, see he's only doing 3 lakh surgeries and he's talking about reaching 1 million, okay? What he wants is that out of only 7% of the people come to them who find out at an early age, and he's always wondering, what about the balance 93%? And this is what makes Dr. V someone very different. You know, his boldness is in his thrust to look for patients who do not even realize they are patients. He was to go out and seek them and find them and start giving them treatment for free, just so that he can do service to God, because service to mankind is service to God. And that is the man's boldness. And I would like to give you one nice saying from Wolfgang. He says, concerning all acts of initiatives and creation, the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help that would otherwise never have occurred. Boldness has genius, power and magic in it. Begin now. I told you at the beginning that maybe he was a SRK fan. I think SRK is his fan. तभी तो उसने कहा है कि अगर कोई चीज शिद्दत से चाहे तो सारी कायनात उसे दिलाने में लग जाती है. करेक्ट? वे शाहरुख खान के लिए ताली बजाइए. उसने Intelligence and capability are not enough. There must be joy in doing something beautiful. Dr. Govinda Venkataswamy. Dr. Govinda Venkataswamy, his mind is being studied. How can it be? This is an irreverent mind. He never measures things on how much is being done. He always measures on how much what is not done. And he is a paradox of a person. He cares so much for his people. He's such a gentleman. But he drives his willing slaves, and makes them reach a position, reach their potential by motivating them. And when they are able to go no more, he somehow is able to push them even further. That is the magic of Dr. V. He passed away